they weren't just a band. They were an experience. A sonic journey through space, time, and human emotion. This is the story of Pink Floyd. Formed in London in 1965, Pink Floyd began as a psychedelic rock band led by Syd Barrett. Barrett was the creative heart of the early Floyd. His surreal lyrics and experimental guitar defined their debut album, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. But success came at a cost. As the band gained fame, Barrett's mental health deteriorated. In 1968, he was replaced by David Gilmour, and Pink Floyd's sound began to evolve. With Roger Waters on bass and vocals, Richard Wright on keyboards, and Mick Mason on drums, a new era began. They moved beyond psychedelia into something deeper. A fusion of progressive rock, ambient textures, and philosophical themes. In 1973, everything changed. The Dark Side of the Moon was released. It wasn't just an album. It was a statement. Themes of time, greed, mental illness, and mortality struck a global chord. The album spent over 900 weeks on the Billboard charts. Its iconic prism cover became a symbol of music history. Pink Floyd was no longer just a band, they were a phenomenon. Next came Wish You Were Here, a tribute to Syd Barrett. It mourned the loss of their friend and the soul of their beginnings. Then, in 1977, Animals offered a darker critique of society, inspired by George Orwell's Animal Farm. It painted a grim picture of modern life dogs, pigs, and sheep, each representing different aspects of humanity. But the band's biggest statement was still to come. In 1979, they released The Wall, a rock opera about isolation, trauma, and emotional walls built by life. Roger Waters took creative control, and his vision was personal, theatrical, and massive. The Wall wasn't just music, it was storytelling at an epic scale. Live shows featured animations, massive inflatables, and yes, a literal wall being built on stage. But behind the scenes, the real wall was between the band members. Creative tensions rose. Richard Wright was fired during the recording. By 1983's The Final Cut, Pink Floyd was essentially Roger Waters' solo project. Soon after, he left the band entirely. But the story didn't end there. In 1987, Gilmour, Mason, and Wright returned with a momentary lapse of reason. It sparked legal battles over the name, but reignited the band's success. In 1994, they released the Division Bell, a more atmospheric, reflective album. Then, after years of silence, came a brief, emotional reunion. In 2005, all four classic members, Gilmour, Waters, Wright, and Mason, performed together at Live 8. It was the first time in 24 years. It was also the last. Richard Wright passed away in 2008, and with him, a part of Pink Floyd's soul. In 2014, the band released The Endless River, a tribute to Wright and a final farewell. It was ambient, instrumental, and deeply emotional. A quiet ending to a thunderous legacy. Pink Floyd didn't just play music. They built worlds. With every album, they challenged the limits of sound and storytelling. They asked questions that had no easy answers. And they left behind a legacy that still echoes through generations. Pink Floyd taught us that music can be more than entertainment. It can be a mirror, a voice, a revolution. And above all, it can be timeless.